Julia Gillard's made a surprise visit to Afghanistan, her first overseas trip as Prime Minister. She held talks with the US commander in charge of the Allied forces and with the Afghan president. Ms Gillard also met Australian soldiers on the ground, and as the debate over more troops and equipment intensifies back home, the Prime Minister was quizzed by frontline soldiers about extra resources. Stephanie Kennedy has this report on the Prime Minister's trip.
In the dusty deserts of Afghanistan, the Prime Minister stepped off an RAAF C-130 at the Australian base at Tarin Kowt. As Julia Gillard kicked off her tour, it was kick-off time at the MCG, and even a prime ministerial visit couldn't overshadow an AFL Grand Final for some of the troops.
I stopped off to check the scores.
During a 2-hour briefing by military officials, one senior commander warned the war will be a long fight. She then toured the base, meeting soldiers and hearing about their work, including the engineers who deal with the Taliban's weapon of choice, the improvised explosive device.
Great to meet you.
She also talked with some of the Afghan soldiers the Australians are training. This year, 10 Australians have lost their lives in the deserts of Afghanistan. The Prime Minister rallied the troops and paid tribute to those who've died in the conflict.
Despite those losses, your courage and determination to get the job done continues undaunted.
Milling about with diggers over a barbecue lunch, she posed for photos and chatted. But the Western Bulldogs fan couldn't escape the Pies' victory.
That regulation army issue. You're a shocker.
On a more serious note, one soldier bailed her up over increasing troop numbers and hardware.
If more support is going to be coming, do you have a time frame?
Oh, well, we review continuously, and as soon as we get any recommendations, we certainly deal with them urgently. We don't let them delay.
There was an exchange of gifts with local leaders as they pleaded with her not to forget Afghanistan. Then, donning a flak jacket, she slipped out of Tarin Kowt as secretly as she'd flown in. While she headed to Kabul, some caught a bit of shut-eye. In the Afghan capital, she was briefed by the overall commander of the Allied forces, US General David Petraeus. An audience with President Karzai capped off Julia Gillard's day. The Prime Minister will now hold further discussions on the war-torn country and Australia's efforts there with European leaders in Brussels. Stephanie Kennedy, ABC News.